Hailing from Michigan, the Verve Pipe would be best known for the late 90s song The Freshman, which tackled difficult social issues. Today we'll answer the question, whatever happened to the Verve Pipe? Hailing from East Lansing, Michigan, the Verve Pipe formed in 1992 by Brian Vander Ark, Brian Stout, and Donnie Brown. Vander Ark at the time was in a band named Johnny with an I, and Brown played in a group called Water for the Pool, while Stout worked in a studio both bands were recording in. They would end up forming the group The Verve Pipe and putting out their first EP in 1992, titled I've Suffered a Head Injury. The EP would contain their huge hit The Freshman, albeit an acoustic version. Stout would end up leaving the group shortly afterwards and be replaced by guitarist AJ Dunning, who would stay on for the next decade or so. Stout would, however, leave the group with one parting gift, the band's name. Vander Ark would tell SouthJersey.com about his former bandmate, saying he was in the band for 4 months and named it. We were talking about The Big To Do, an awful name. The Big Whoop was another one, and he said, we're going to call it The Verve Pipe, and he got up and left. Then he quit the band and left us with that horrible moniker he'd remember. The band would release their first full-length LP, Pop Smear, the following year in 1993. While it would be a modest seller, the band soon earned a reputation for their live shows and developed a cult following in their home state of Michigan, mostly by playing college parties. Vander Ark would tell Entertainment Weekly, playing fraternity parties is the best way for a young band to make a living. A lot of the times you play 2 songs and the cops come break it up, you've made your money and the frat president apologizes. Pop Smear would end up selling around 40 to 50,000 copies, and the Verve Pipe soon signed with RCA Records in 1995. The band would end up working with producer Jerry Harrison of Talking Heads fame, and Vander Ark would point to his religious upbringing as leaving him, and I quote, ridden with guilt, a subject that he frequently visits on the Verve Pipe's major label debut, Villains. The song Photograph would be the first single released from their major label debut, and it would help Vander Ark break a funk in his songwriting, with the frontman telling Billboard magazine, I was writing all these darker things, which I generally prefer, and it is easier to emote on different topics, but I didn't want to be Trent Reznor for a whole album. Ironically, it would be Photograph that got the band signed to RCA, and the track would be heavily influenced by the Beatles' song Penny Lane. Photograph would end up peaking at number 17 on the mainstream rock charts, and the second single, Cup of Tea, did little to make much of an impact, but it would be the album's third single, released in 1997, that catapulted Villains to become a huge seller. Vander Ark would look back at The Freshman, revealing, we've gone through a lot of different versions of the song, basically with the same melody but with different feel. It started out as kind of me and an acoustic guitar, and then joining a rock and roll band was the dream for me. So then having a rock and roll band, I wanted all these guys to play along and be able to step up to that plate. The Freshman would tell the tale of 2 men seeing the same woman during their freshman year in college. It was a story that Vander Ark had himself lived. Vander Ark would, however, add one piece of fiction to the song. The woman they were both seeing ended up taking her life, which in reality she didn't. There would be several versions of the song floating around, and the version that ended up on Villains would be re-recorded and remixed with Black Crowes producer Jack Joseph Puig, prior to the single being released in 1997. Puig gave the band an opportunity to see the song in a different light. Following the success of The Freshman, future pressings of Villains would be replaced with Puig's version. According to MTV, the college publication U Magazine would sponsor a contest where college students could submit their most memorable experience as a freshman, with the winner getting the Verve Pipe to show up and play on their college campus. The Verve Pipe would open 33 dates for Kiss on the reunion tour in 1996, and it was an awful experience, with Vander Ark telling the Chicago Tribune, their audience doesn't want to see anyone but Kiss. We were spat on. At the end of the day, Villains would end up selling a whopping 1.5 million copies. The band also shared success at the same time with another band with a similar name, the British group The Verve. This would sometimes create confusion amongst members of the public, with Vander Ark telling SouthJersey.com, to this day people come up to me and say, I love Bittersweet Symphony, and I'm like, thanks, I'm sure some people bought our record by mistake, and I'm absolutely fine with that, he'd say. Side note guys, I've done a whole video on Bittersweet Symphony and how the Rolling Stones ripped off The Verve. The link is down below. For the follow-up record, the Verve Pipe would hook up with producer Michael Beinhorn, and it would be Beinhorn's work with Soundgarden that was a key reason why the band chose to work with the producer. While the band struck out with critics with their first major release, fans loved it. The opposite happened with their follow-up album, which was self-titled. With a budget that was 3 times of their previous album, their sophomore major release failed to land an audience, with Vander Ark telling the Chicago Tribune, We went from a budget of $400,000 to $1.2 million just messing around in the studio being rock stars. The first week's sales were $8,000 to $9,000. It was a slap in the face, he'd remember. Their final record with RCA would be 2001's Underneath, and it proved to be the final nail in the coffin, as it was released around the time of 9/11, with Vander Ark telling the Tribune, "It was the demise of our own doing." And when we finally got it together with Underneath, which we thought was our best album, all the stars were aligned. Then 9/11 hit literally 4 or 5 days before our album was released, and it just killed us, he'd say. Following the failure of the group's album Underneath, they would go on a lengthy hiatus. It was during that time Vander Ark had to make ends meet, and according to the Chicago Tribune, he was playing in people's living rooms as a way to pay his rent. This would actually be documented in a short film. He would eventually reshape his career and make money by giving speeches, releasing solo records, and scoring Hollywood productions, as well as doing some acting himself. In 2009, the Verve Pipe would reconvene, but with a different twist. The group decided to cater more towards a younger audience, kids. The inspiration appeared to have come from two places. One source I read claimed it was an offer the band got to partake in a kids' compilation album, while the second one was that Vander Ark was playing around with lyrics to a song and thought it might be fun to write songs for kids, and he would tell the Philly Voice, "We decided to go and make an album with 4-part harmonies and guitar solos, and the kids love it. We make more money on the kids' albums than the rock albums. Kids actually buy CDs, they want to leave the show with something. If it weren't for our kids' music, I would be at the mall working Guitar Center, where a lot of guys who had hits in the 90s are presently employed," he'd say. Their first album for children would be 2009's A Family Album, followed by 2013's Are We There Yet? The band would release their first proper follow-up to 2001's Underneath with 2014's Overboard, followed by their most recent record, 2017's Parachute. The Verve Pipe is still pretty active on the touring circuit to this day, and that pretty much does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe, and we'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.